right, we got 10 ways to hide your base on Donut SMP.
Throughout my time on the Donut SMP, I've seen thousands of players get their bases raided, griefed, and wiped off the map. So I've come up with 10 of the best ways to hide your base. But make sure you stay till the end since the last method is so secret that almost nobody knows about it. Starting off with the first method, which is making your base in the ocean. When people RTP, they can only RTP on land, so many players
how does he know that?
A base that is in an ocean. However, you do have to find a spot with no kelp, since fully grown kelp tells base hunters that a player has been in the area. Yes. I've seen many people's bases get found just because of the kelp that was on the surface, so try to avoid it. If you're struggling to find an ocean without kelp, almost all of them have kelp in it except for warm oceans. This next method is removing all the pie chartable blocks from your base. Using the pie chart by pressing F3 and 1, people can see which block entities are nearby, even if they are underground. Some people can't remove the blocks because of their massive farms, but if you want a super secret stash of gear, you can use barrels since the pie chart doesn't detect them. A lot of people say that the pie chart doesn't work that well in Donut SMP since the blocks that are being detected by it would have to be close by, but if you want to be extra safe, you can use this method. This third method is talked about pretty often, but it is making your base under lava. A lot of X-ray hackers can still see lava underground, so if you make your base below it,
that's not gonna help.
From most cheaters.
Not gonna help.
If you want to make your own lava pool, try to make it look realistic so it doesn't raise suspicion.
But
if you have a really big base, then this method probably wouldn't work since the lava pool would be too massive and easily catch attention to those dirty cheaters. Okay, so this next method is making your base as small as possible.
This is actually insanely helpful.
It increases the chance for people to find it by mining or looking with X-ray. It might be hard if you have really big farms, but try to make it as small as you can. For example, if you want a spawner base, you can make it a 2x1 hole.
You know, some people used to just make their bases like just 1 block big. Like they would put a spawner and then a 1 block hole where they like lay down, and that's it. That's their whole base, and they put it like at bedrock level so no one ever will accidentally dig into it. And people do that just to have their spawners there, and I think their bases never got found. There's probably bases like that since the start of the server. I haven't been found for years.
Mined out area. Last season on Donut SMP, spawners were the main money-making method.
So he's talking about that.
Small bases that never got raided. It doesn't really matter that much since it only decreases the chance of someone finding it by a little bit, but anything can happen.
No, that helps a lot. The bigger your base is and the closer it is to caves, you're more and more cooked.
This fifth method is really good for newer players since a lot of them don't know how the RTP command works. When you RTP, you should never build right where you teleported at. You should go like 500 or 1,000.
No, that's not true. This method 5 is just not true.
1,000 blocks out or even more to make your base. When you
that's not true.
RTP, you're basically guaranteed to end up in a spot where many players have been before. That's why you have to pick a spot where there's no evidence of someone being.
Not true. That's just not true. You're guaranteed to be put in a random spot where other players have been before. This is just not true. No, the RTP is fully random. The only thing that's like different about RTP is that you don't go in water, and I think that's it. Yeah, it has nothing to do with whether or not other players are nearby. There's no like RTP zones where a lot of people go to. It's just fully random.
End up in a spot where many players have been before. That's why you
traveling
have to
out further
pick
is
a
not
spot where
gonna
there's
make
no
a
evidence of someone being there.
Unless, well, what could make a difference is if you RTP into a spot where there happens to be evidence of people being there, then that might make it more likely for random people to come to that same area and see the evidence and then find your base, because they thought that means that there's a base nearby. But there's no like RTP zones, and traveling a certain amount of blocks out is not going to make any difference. But what does make a difference is going somewhere that like looks like nobody's been there.
Players are way more likely to randomly find your base if you make it on your RTP spot, rather than making it 1,000 blocks out from it. But when you do decide to dig down to make your base, make sure to use this next method, which is making sure you place back every block.
And it's crazy because I see a lot of people in chat thinking that they're like, oh no, it's not random, by the way. Like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. Like, you guys are just making up random stuff. I literally made the server. So how do you guys think that you know more than me?
When you're digging down, you have to use a Silk Touch pickaxe since you don't want cobblestone or any other blocks.
This is good, yes.
Hacks to find cobblestone or cobbled deep slate to see where players have been active. This usually tells them where bases are, so don't place unnatural blocks on your way down.
You gotta put the exact same blocks that are already there.
Important, which is basically to never teleport anyone to your base.
Alright, why'd you have to put this picture on the wall, bro?
Even if you have a teammate. It's best to go solo.
This is an insane tip. Never teleport anyone to your base. No, not even any popular streamers, no one.
But they don't even know the person they're teaming with. I've seen so many people talk about how they were betrayed and how they lost everything, so I feel like making money by yourself is the best option. Plus, you can get all the money for yourself instead of having to split it. It can be a problem when your team consists of a lot of people. I made that mistake before and I barely got any money. Method number 8 basically builds off of method 7, since this one is also important if you want your base to be completely unknown to the entire server. If you feel like teleporting a streamer to a really good base just for money, then you shouldn't, unless you're really broke. Even if the streamer is protecting your base from being leaked with a texture pack that prevents block rotation, there still may be other things being leaked that you don't know about.
Yep.
But ores on the wall can leak coordinates as well as bedrock being exposed.
Yep.
By the way, make sure to never make your base red on the bedrock layers. Please make it above it. So many people do this in front of streamers, which tends to get their base found. And who knows whether hidden exploits some people might have just
This is good advice. You can also get leaked by bamboo rotation. Like bamboo is not directly in the middle of the block. It can be like in random positions in the block. And same with, there's probably other crops that spawn in random directions too. And there's also probably ways you can get leaked by the way that the grass is growing when you bone meal it, you know, stuff like that, or the way the crimson grows. I don't know if that's true, but I wouldn't doubt it.
Untrusted streamers might write down the coordinates. However, I don't think there's many, but make sure if you
what was that
to look at your base, you only TP the trusted streamers.
What is this footage?
Every day. Method 9 could be really useful to you if you don't care about your ping. On Donut Pete, there are certain regions you can RTP to that fits to where you are in the world. For me, I'm NA East, so I get better ping if I RTP to the NA East region.
Right.
However, NA East and Europe are the most populated regions on the Donut SMP, with both regions having thousands of players. So if you make your base in those regions, your base could be found a lot faster
this one's
than
not...
if you just make your base in a less populated region.
No, this one's not true either. Because the thing about the smaller regions, the coordinates, like let's say Oceania, I think this is our least, or maybe Asia. These are the smallest regions with the least players. So if the region has less players, we make their like world size smaller. So like the amount of blocks is equal to the amount of players. So if there's like 10,000 players online on NA East, and there's only 1,000 in Asia, the NA East world size will be 10 times bigger.
Like
so this doesn't actually help. It's better to just build it where you have low ping, so it's just more fun to play, even easier.
The best regions to make your base in, since they are the least populated regions, with them only having a few hundred players. Your ping might be really bad though, but
this is all really good advice though. I mean, like it's not gonna really mess somebody up to try that out. And then what else? The RTP thing, like it's not gonna mess somebody up to fly a bunch of blocks out. All these tips are good.
And might be a little crazy to think about, since many people probably haven't tested this before, but hear me out. I think that if you make your base at really low coordinates instead of high coordinates, your base might not be found as quickly. You know how when you RTP to a random spot in the world, it's usually at a set of high coordinates? Well, most base hunters probably only look around the spots where they've RTP'd themselves. So I feel like if you make your base at a set of low coordinates, it might actually work.
Okay, this one doesn't make sense at all. Because the world is massive. Like, let's say the spawn of the world is like this size. But then the rest of the world can go all the way to here. And the small coordinates are only this small in the world. But there's everywhere else that's possible for you to RTP to. So it's just really, really, really unlikely for you to RTP to the small area. But it's just as unlikely for you to teleport to the middle of the map as it is for you to teleport to this small area over here in the map, for you to teleport to this small area over here in the map. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference what coordinates you put your base at. And yeah, I don't think this method will help.
Might be really risky to make your base there, so don't take my word for it because I've never really tested it myself. But if anyone wants to try and test this for themselves, it might have a lot of potential to be a good way to hide your base. So that's basically all the methods that I've come up with.
W video, Zazzing. I liked it, bro.
The video,
this is actually good. Yeah, nobody gives like every single piece of advice like that. I like that. And drop a like and subscribe, especially subscribe to Zazzing, bro.